بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسول الكريم اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا أنت العليم الحكيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي رب زدني من ورثنا رب يسر ولا تسر وتمم بالخير وبك نستعين يا فتاح يا فتاح يا عليم السلام.
عن أرش بن مالك الأشعري رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لا يخص إلا أمير أو مأمور أو كامل. رواه أبو داود ورواه الدارمي عن عمر بن شعيب عن أبيه عن جده وفي روايته أو مراء بدل أو مختال. عوف بن مالك الأشعري رضي الله عنه بيت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم said none gives commands except the emir, or that one who was appointed, or somebody who's presumptuous. And the riwayat of Darimi from Ibn Umar, from Ibn Umar Ibn Shaib, from his father, from his grandfather, narrates that instead of somebody who's presumptuous, it was somebody who is a hypocrite.
Mukhtar, arrogant, right? Okay, so the words Yakustu, no one will impart, no one will tell, no one will narrate, means that will admonish or instruct, right? Or to relate a story. This hadith means that generally three people do this work of admonishing. Two of whom are entitled to do so, that is the ruler and the ruled. But the third is the ignorant person, and that is he is not entitled and he should not do it. The ignorant or arrogant person. In other words, the ruler is entitled because he is the most compassionate and concerned for his people and also knows how to set things right for them. If a ruler does not admonish, uh, the ruler does not admonish and instruct, then he will appoint a scholar for who has the most taqwa and fearing of all the scholars and the zahids, the abstinent people. The scholar shall do his duty, hence he is the ma'mur person, he is a person being ruled. The second person where it comes where he is the ruled person. So he's been ruled, meaning he's been appointed as from the ruler. So he will also be instructed to guide the ummah. Then the hadith warns against the people who deliver sermons, bayans, lectures just to gain fame and wealth, and they are not worthy of or deserving of that position. That is the third type of person, the mukhtar. He is the arrogant person or the ignorant person. So the first two types, the ma'mur and the ruler, they are in the position to give the bayans and admonish the people. Chalo.
عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من أفتي بغير علم كان إثمه على من أفتاه ومن أشار على أخيه بأمر يعلم أن الرشد في غيره خان خانه. رواه أبو داود. أبو هريرة رضي الله عنه narrated رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم says whoever gives a fatwa without knowledge, then the sin will be on the one who gave it. And whoever indicates to his brother with a matter which he knows that the right one is in another path, then he has certainly deviated.
So he purposely gave him the wrong shura. He purposely gave him the wrong advice, right? So if a ignorant person comes and asks a scholar about something and he gives him the wrong answer, either because his lack of knowledge or the issue or for some other reason, but he gives the ignorant person the wrong answer and the ignorant person acts according to the answer that he was given, then the sin will not be upon that person, but rather upon the person who directed him in that direction. The second portion of the hadith is that person who deliberately misguides his brother or deceives him. His act is now, it's against the Sharia and it is bad manners, right? So that is also, he will also be deemed as a deceptive person because deliberately he deceived him. Maybe for his own worldly gains or whatever he was. The person came with a good heart to make mashura with him and he gave him the wrong decision because he could go behind the back, maybe buy the thing or whatever it is. So he is a deceptive person. Chalo.
وعن معاوية رضي الله عنه قال إن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم نهى عن الأخطاء، فهو أبو داود. معاوية رضي الله عنه narrated the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم forbade from stony things.
Yes. So putting people into, like how you say, you pushing him into a corner. The hadith forbids that the putting of such questions to scholars that are complex and controversial. You don't want to put it in the public. You want to put him into the corner. It's forbidden to push anyone into trial because it hurts and harasses him. It also raises fitna and enmity. So generally, the ignorant people do this. The one who is ignorant and arrogant, he hopes to make impression on others. So he will try to come with a sly question just to push the innocent scholar into a corner. However, it is not forbidden to put a record, like if some people are raising stupid arguments, then you put them in a corner by asking them stupid questions also. But the innocent people, you don't just put them in a corner by asking them those heavy questions.
أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم تعلموا الفرائض والقرآن وعلموا الناس فإني مقبول. رواه الترمذي. So Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu narrated that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, learn that it is compulsory in the Quran and teach it to the people, for indeed I will pass away.
Yeah, and that is all that we need, the Quran and the Sunnah. That will guide us. Chalo.
وعن أبي الدرداء رضي الله عنه قال كنا مع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم والشخص ببصره إلى السماء ثم قال هذا أوان يختلس فيه العلم من الناس حتى لا يقدروا منه على شيء. رواه الترمذي. أبو الدرداء رضي الله عنه narrates that Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم that was with Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم when he turned his gaze to the sky and he said, this is the one.
Awanun is like this is it's been withdrawn. This is the time when knowledge is being withdrawn.
So they will not be able to acquire any.
Yeah, they won't have any control over it, over the knowledge, right? So the word here, knowledge, the ilm here refers to wahi, to Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, wahi. He now alluded with this to say that this is his own death, that he's going to pass away. He looks towards the sky as though awaiting a wahi. So it was sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stone that now that his term is over, wahi has been cut off. Hence he said now that the time has come for wahi to terminate and there's no more wahi to come after that. Yeah.
عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه رواية يوشك عن أن يضرب الناس أكباد الإبل يطلبون العلم فلا يجدون أحد أعلم من عالم المدينة. رواه الترمذي في جامعه. قال ابن عيينة إنه مالك بن أنس ومثله عن عبد الرزاق. قال إسحاق بن موسى فسمعت ابن عيينة أنه قال والعمري زاهد اسمه عبد العزيز بن عبد الله. So Abu Hurairah رضي الله عنه narrates that the people will climb on the camels going out to seek knowledge, and they will not find anyone who is more knowledgeable than the Alim of Medina. This is a riot of the meaning from the Jamia. And Ibn Uyayna says that indeed that is Malik ibn Anas, and like him from the and like him from Abdul Razzaq, who narrates who says that Ishaq ibn Musa, that I heard Ibn Uyayna say that it is Umari Zahid.
Yeah, Umari Zahid.
And his name was Abdul Aziz ibn Abdullah.
It was the progeny of Umar al-Khattab, that's why it's called Umari. So this hadith is reported to have said in the meaning that Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala narrated this hadith in a marfu form from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. But the student of Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala, he had forgotten his words, so that's why he narrated the hadith in this manner. The words that will tear of the liver of the camel means that when the people become more interested in seeking knowledge, they will travel to far off places or will drive the camels fast to reach the source of knowledge. They will move very far to go study deen. As for the scholars of Medina, Sufyan ibn Uyayna rahimullah, was a companion of Imam Malik rahmatullahi alayh, and a sheikh of Imam Shafi rahimullah, said that Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam meant this person to be Imam Malik rahimullah, who was a scholar. The great scholar of Hadith, Abdul Razak, rahimullah, also said so. However, a student of Ibn Uyayna, rahimullah, Ishaq bin Musa, rahimullah, said that he heard Ibn Uyayna say that this was Umar Zahid, whose name was Abdul Aziz Ibn Abdullah. He was called Umari because he was from a descendant of Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Zahid because his attribute, he was a great scholar of Medina, and he was Zahid. Zahid is the person who's abstinent. He has nothing to do with the dunya. And he was a God-fearing person. He was a person of taqwa. His line of descent was Abdul Aziz ibn Abdullah ibn Amr ibn Hafs ibn Asim ibn Umar al-Faruq radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Thus, there are two different diverse reports from Uyayna by Tirmidhi and Ishaq bin Musa rahimullah. Both of them summarize the saying of Uyayna that they were not very sure. We must also understand that Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam saying concerned the time of the Sahaba Ikram radiallahu ta'ala anhum, the Tabi'een. During those times, there was no scholar anywhere in the world greater than the scholars of Medina Munawwara. Because after the knowledge had spread out of Medina to other parts, such scholars arose there as were more learned than those in Medina. There was time that in the time of the Sahaba, undoubtedly, in the time of the Tabi'een, undoubtedly the greatest of scholars were in Medina. But after that, scholars arose to other parts that were more knowledgeable than those in Medina. Imam Bukhari was from where? Huh? Bukhara. Where is that? Kazakhstan, right? Even Imam Muslim, all of those scholars of Hadith, Imam Dawud was from Sijistan. They were not from Medina, right? However, the meaning here to the text is that Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa said that in spite of the spread of knowledge, it will still be centralized in Medina. That there will still be many scholars in Medina, and this is also clear from other hadith.